Hey there, welcome to the latest issue. I'm always saying issue, like this is a magazine. Whatever, let's go with it, okay? Issue of Hiker Homily, because I have issues. Huh. Anyway, and the issue we're going to talk about this time on this episode of Hiker Homily are cairns. Cairns. It's a cool word, right? And I've said it many times before. The kinds of things that the hiking community finds to argue about. Although I admit this one, I get it in certain ways, and we'll talk about that. So, a cairn, for those of you who don't know what a cairn is basically a small stack of rocks. Now, an actual cairn in the hiking world has a purpose. And right away, I know there's some folks out there, no, 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 no. No, it does not. Yes, it does. Calm down. I know there are folks out there who just hate them with a passion, no matter what. But an actual cairn serves a purpose. When a trail goes over, like, say, a nothing but a large surface of granite, there's no way to see a trail on a large surface of granite and which way you're supposed to go. Nowadays, we do have GPS and things like that. On a map, it's a lot harder to do. You kind of figure out, I think I'm supposed to be heading this way. You do some orienteering and things like that. You can do it. And with GPS and things like that, it makes it a lot easier. It really does. But it is tough and easy to get going in the wrong direction or lose the trail on large flat areas of like granite and things like that, where there's no obvious trail in the woods. Okay? And so a lot of the times in many places, cairns will be placed at certain intervals, and then basically you say, okay, this is the trail. The trail leads right up to this freaking long stretch of just rocks. I am supposed to go that way because look, there's a cairn. So you head for that cairn, and from that cairn you should be able to see the next one, and that will take you across this boulder sheet or areas of large granite and things like that until you get to an actual marked trail in the dirt. So they do serve a purpose. They can help to mark a trail. The only problem is there's folks out there, because it takes all kinds for a world. There are folks out there who get ridiculous with it. Like, well, since we've got these cairns here marking the trail, instead of just like at intervals where I reach one and I can see the next one in a distance and get to that one, see the next one in the distance, I'm going to put like 17 of them down because I like stacking rocks. and it just gets ridiculous. Pretty soon you're walking along this granite sheet and there's like a pathway with cairns on each side and stuff. And it's silly, and it breaks the whole thing. I'm out there for nature and things, not to see man-made art items and things like that. And that's the other thing too, is there's plenty of people who they don't even do it to mark a trail. There's a perfectly well marked trail in a river crossing, but they've just decided, I'm bored and I want to do it, and so they just start stacking rocks all over the place near this river. They take all the river stones out of the river and start stacking rocks and stuff because art. And I'm not anti-art. I like art. But art just for the sake of doing it, just for the F of it out in the forest, no. Leave the freaking rocks alone. Leave them in the riverbed. They do serve a purpose in the riverbed. They're a habitat, for one thing. And all kind, there's a reason they're in the riverbed. Pulling them out to stack them into neat little patterns. Come on now, don't do that. And that's where I bump my head on the whole cairn thing. But there are folks out there who are just nuts about this whole thing. They don't even want them there to mark a trail. I've seen words like desecration used, abomination. It's a stack of rocks. Calm down. Calm down. I mean, you're right. If I walk up to a place and it's beautiful and I look around and all of a sudden there's 20 of these things built all over the place because some fool decided to do it, yeah, that's not good. I don't like that. If a cairn isn't actually guiding if it's not there for a purpose of marking the trail, if the trail doesn't need to be marked at all, it's very clear and stuff like that, and people have just stacked rocks up, I'll knock them down. If it looks like they were taken out of a nearby stream and stuff, I'll put them back in the stream. But if they're there for a purpose and they're not overboard, there's not 70 cairns lined up along this granite thing. There's 3, because from here I can see 25 feet away is another one, another 25 feet away. Oh, okay. Now I've gotten across this thing and I'm back on the trail because I'm off the granite and stuff. That doesn't bother me, but if you're lining them all up, that's ridiculous. Now you're getting silly. And that's where I bump my head. So I don't go crazy on it. I am not anti-cairn as long as those cairns are serving a legitimate purpose and it's not overboard. Again, I don't need a huge amount of them to mark the trail. One, and then another one that's visible from a distance away, et cetera, in a chain for however long that is required to get across this granite field. Cool. Okay. A whole bunch of them, or just things stacked up all over the place because there were rocks around, even though the trail is easily marked and stuff like that. No. Ridiculous. But like I say, people online, man, you mention cairns, and people just go crazy. They just, they totally defend it. And also it brings up a whole nother topic that I'm going to do in a different hiker homily about how sometimes leave no trace is misunderstood. Because that's one of the first things that people throw up there is, well, what's wrong with this cairn being on this thing? It's marking, if it's actually serving purpose, marking trace, it's not leave no trace. It's not leave no trace. Leave no trace is this and that and blah, blah, blah. All right, we're taking leave no trace a little too far. And like I say, I'm not going to rant on that now because that's a whole separate rant that I'm going to get into in a different hiker homily. But cairns, so my take on them. If they are kept to a minimal point and they serve a purpose, I'm good with them. I think that's a good thing. It helps keep people from getting off the trail, because then that's the thing is when you scream, leave no trace, that's why we don't want cairns, leave no trace. Okay, but if this person gets on this granite sheet, loses the trail, ends up over here bushwhacking, they're going to do far more damage bushwhacking trying to find the trail again than a stack of 4 or 5 rocks that will guide them across this sheet. You see what I mean? So yeah, they serve a purpose and they're done in a minimal way. Awesome. If they're just there for the sake of somebody got bored and decided they wanted to be cool and stack rocks, that's ridiculous. Don't do it. That's my take on cairns. Again, I feel like I'm in the common sense range on my take on it, but I know because I've seen it online that there are people that are on either spectrum. Hike your own hike. I should be able to stack rocks if I want to. Or nobody should touch anything in nature whatsoever. Even though I'm hiking in nature and touching the ground in my trail, like I say, not going to totally rant on it, but that's part of the whole misconception of leave no trace. My trail is something that has touched nature and affected nature. I'm going to tell you not to affect it in this way. Don't do that. Don't touch the rocks. You can't be on either extreme side. There's a spot in the middle where, yes, they serve a purpose. Let them serve their purpose. But don't be stupid about it as far as just put them everywhere and any chance you get. So cairns, what are your feelings on it? If you want to leave comments, as always, down below, you can leave them or on my Patreon page, or make a comment on Instagram and flag it that it's about cairns. Or as always, you can get a hold of me at hikingforhealthca@gmail.com. And that's about it for this episode of Hiker Homily. Maybe you learned something about what a cairn is. Maybe you want to have an opinion about it. Maybe I set off a rant of your own suddenly when you're out there by yourself. Who knows? But until then, I'll catch you later.